Deus Ex, a game so categorically beloved that the mere mention of it encourages gamers worldwide to reinstall it. A game so rife with choice and adaptability that no two playthroughs are ever likely to be the same. There's nothing I can say now about Deus Ex that hasn't been said 100 times before by others, so for the purposes of this video alone, I will simply add this. Deus Ex is a game where you play as a nano-augmented man who wears sunglasses at night, JC Denton. Over the course of the game, JC can find augmentation canisters to add new abilities such as speed and strength enhancement, the ability to breathe underwater, a cloak to turn invisible, and an EMP shield, to name a few. In addition to this, JC has a variety of skills based around weapons, hacking, lockpicking, medicine, and even swimming, with the player earning skill points to increase these categories of skills from Tier 1 untrained all the way to Tier 4 master, with each increase providing buffs to those areas. The game actively encourages you to acquire as many of these augmentations and improve these skills over the course of the game to match its gradual increase in difficulty. But what if you didn't, and tried to beat the game as an unskilled and completely unaugmented JC Denton? Well, today we're going to find out. Can you beat Deus Ex without augmentations or upgrading skills? I decided upon the easy difficulty to have a fighting chance, as, believe me, there are still plenty of deaths even at this level. Rename my character to Chris Tries, choose the ginger appearance for JC in solidarity with my daughter, and downgrade the only pre-trained skill, pistols, to untrained. As you can see from this, across the board, JC is now useless. The primary means of survival in this run is to search everywhere and hoard everything, with the exception of bioelectric cells, which are pointless to me. I delay the mission on Liberty Island by searching every nook and cranny, and somehow pull off this amazing trick shot in spite of not knowing which way to hold the pistol. Although that wait for the target reticule to center leaves something to be desired. No. I loot a sunken ship and find something that will give me a fighting chance in this run. Weapon mods. These mods will provide accuracy and reload buffs to my weapons, making up considerably for the shortfall in my actual weapon skills. After nearly drowning, I start towards the Statue of Liberty, zap a baddie in the ass, and have a conversation with a UNATCO soldier whilst a polite NSF terrorist waits patiently for us to finish our conversation before killing me. Reloading, I return the favour and finally infiltrate the base of the statue. I free Gunther, refuse to give him my heavily modded pistol, and confront the terrorist leader. This is where the game tries to tempt me with one of these scintillating blue canisters, which would enable JC to install an augmentation and generally become a more effective cybernetic man. But for this run, no thank you. Tutorial mission complete, I make my way into the belly of UNATCO HQ. I mooch around for goodies, play some pinball, and finally get debriefed from Mandalay, who definitely won't betray me later. Next mission is just a boat ride away and sees JC recovering some barrels of ambrosia, no not the custard, from the terrorists. I give this kid a chocolate bar which opens up an excellent shortcut, find the ambrosia, and say no to another augmentation canister. As I had entered the dock through the secret chocolate door, I was able to get the drop on the NSF terrorists holed up in Castle Clinton, and after a bit of awkward shooting mechanics, was able to take them all out. I'm rude to Agent Navarra, but am given my next task, resolving a hostage situation in the subway. Solid snaking my way through the ventilation, I managed to hit each of the terrorists with enough 9mm bullets to make them give up trying to stop me and just start running around panicking about their impending doom. Exiting the subway at Hell's Kitchen, my equally ginger brother gives me my next assignment, taking down the EMP field. I zap two sailors trying to mug a bum, and he gives me a passphrase that will be useful later on. I shoot some hoops, miss, and decide to make the streets safer by zapping a pimp. I heal a gunshot wound to the chest with some drinking water and decide to help the owner of the Ton Hotel with his terrorist problem so I can take a peek at my brother's secret stash of augmented porn. Channeling my inner Gordon Freeman, I take out the last terrorist and begin systematically looting the Ton Hotel. I am disappointed by the lack of cybernetic boobs in Paul's stash, but gratefully take the lockpicks, multi-tools, and other bits that will no doubt come in handy later on. I break into the highly impenetrable warehouse via a convenient basement window, and after some tunnel trawling, I end up taking a lift to the roof. After scrambling from rooftop to rooftop, dispatching NSF troops, I finally make my way inside the NSF base and decide to deal with the generator in an explosive fashion. Jock the copter guy takes me back to Yanatco HQ, and after quenching JC's undying thirst, nothing quite heals a broken leg than good old H2O, try to be a gentleman and let Agent Navarra be debriefed first, but get bored of waiting for her to stop complaining and push in instead. Heading back to New York City to find another missing shipment of ambrosia, I supply the passphrase from earlier to get a code which will take my search underground. I try to take a drug dealer through some therapy, but wind up killing him instead with this sick headshot. Down with the mole people now, I find the next terrorist leader behind a fake wall who surrenders immediately because he's heard of the exploits of the crowbar-wielding redhead with sunglasses. I enter the locked bathroom, take care of some public hygiene, and make my way down the tunnel which will take me to the airfield. The tunnel is booby-trapped to high heaven, but I manage to get through relatively unscathed and find myself at the airfield. I zap an NSF soldier preparing to use the loo, watch his little dance, and continue my Half-Life 2 cosplay. I find a secret room with some goodies, deny myself an augmentation upgrade, and finally take the lift to the main airfield strip. I try to blow up some crates, miss comically, and end up bombing myself instead. I'm satisfied there is no more loot for me to loot. I press on with gaining access to the hangar. I dispatch the baddies in the barracks, blow up some personal belongings, and find myself a plane and a Paul. Turns out Paul is working for the NSF. I know, big shock, and asks me to hear out Lebedev instead of killing him. So after looting the hangar of everything not nailed down, I make my way to the plane to confront him. I find the last ambrosia barrel, another augmentation canister I won't take, and have a chat with Lebedev. We are rudely interrupted by Agent Navarra, who I decide has to die for her lack of manners. Although she tries to escape me by turning invisible, nothing can stop the power of the crowbar. She blows up upon death and unfortunately takes one of my legs with her. I finish my conversation with Lebedev, who then decides to grind this run to a halt by blocking the path. Come on, no! Only one thing for it, I'm afraid. Back at HQ, I'm debriefed by Mandalay, who tells me that they've activated Paul's kill switch and that I'm being sent to Hong Kong to chase down his contact there, Tracer Tong. Jock has other ideas, however.
I'm taking you to New York.
And takes me back to New York City to meet Paul in his apartment. Paul tells me the proof that the NSF are the good guys is located on a data cube in one of their bases nearby, and that while I'm there I should send an NSF distress signal to warn the others, an action which most certainly won't have ramifications for JC's continued employment with UNATCO. Making my way through the now UNATCO controlled base, I find the data cube and after surmounting numerous obstacles make my way to the computer to send the distress signal. Fighting my way back to the Ton Hotel through hostile UNATCO forces, I rendezvous with Paul and we have a conversation about Walton Simons and the elusive Majestic 12, before beginning the first really challenging part of this run. So far the difficulty has not peaked too high and my lack of any skills or augmentations has not thrown up too many roadblocks. However, as I wanted Paul to live, going out of the window was not an option. So I had to fight. Cue death montage! I think you get the point. Although the death results in a scripted sequence of being locked up in a Majestic 12 prison, something I cannot avoid, I wanted to get to the furthest point in the story, the first fight with Gunther, before allowing that to happen. Call me stubborn. After finally succeeding in saving Paul, I hop back to Battery Park to have my ill-fated encounter with the German. Now locked up at least on my terms, it's time to find my bro and break free from this cell, with a little help from... thanks. Diddy. First attempt and I'm killed by a soldier who has a fairly strange reaction to killing me.
Anyone else hungry?
What? Finding my bearings now, I take out a secretary packing a prod, and after a brief altercation that results in me losing both of my legs, make my way to the armory to get my stuff back. Oh, for God's sake. Unfortunately, it became quite clear early on that having no legs meant I could not get all my gear back, owing to being about 3 foot tall, so I had to painstakingly drag myself back to the other end of the complex to the only medbot back in the cells. And yes, this is what that looked like. An age later, I finally heal up, show you I've not installed any augmentations, and make my way back to the armory for the rest of my stuff. I cause a ruckus freeing Paul, and we agree to meet up in Hong Kong to deal with this kill switch business. Daedalus gives me the code to leave, which I put to good use, and find myself in the basement of UNATCO HQ. I'm tempted with another augmentation canister, no thanks, ask Jaime to stay behind and pay Mandalay a visit for a final debrief after saying ciao for now to Alex and Carter. It doesn't end well. But Ian, Jock's there to meet me on the surface and, owing to his debt to Paul, decides to fly me all the way to Hong Kong. Oh, that's nice of him. Jock and I arrive in Hong Kong, but oh dear, we're locked in the hangar bay and the copter's weapons have been overridden. Time to go poking about. Luckily, the MJ-12 troops haven't taken notice to a great big helicopter hovering noisily in their hangar, so I take the fight to them instead. Once they're dispatched, I find the key to the room to push the button that progresses the game. Jock shows off his firepower in blowing a hole for me to escape through, but I have a little time to enjoy it before I'm turned into Swiss cheese by a security bot. Second time round, I'm more prepared and disable the bot before it disables me. Making my way into Hong Kong proper, I decide to kill some time visiting a local nightclub where I happen upon this crucial scene.
I spill my drink!
I decide to go meandering about behind the bar and am greeted with a reality that will persist for the rest of the run. 9 lockpicks. Gee! The fact is, at this point, the game has expected you to invest some points into your lockpicking electronics to make these skill-based checks easier, and my failure to do so for the challenge means I am being actively punished for this as we gradually progress through the game. Hence the hoarding. I go pester Max Chen about Tracer Tong's whereabouts, and he answers with some riddle about a dragon's tooth. Helpful. I ask Gordon Quick, who is frankly wrecked, and he says he won't help me unless I get the dragon tooth, which turns out to be a sword, back from Maggie Chow. I head to Tenochi Road, watch this epic battle between a cat and a pigeon, and basically walked straight into Maggie Chow's penthouse apartment. Oh, that was easy. Maggie Chow spins me some waffle about Majestic 12 and how she's totally not with them, telling me to just pop into the highly restricted police station to find the evidence.
It's a trap!
On the way out, however, I notice a peculiar looking lantern that I can't help but give a tug. Oh look, secret room. After battling the MJ-12 forces in her literal house, I find the dragon's tooth in its funky container, spend a moment trying to work out what the code is. Remember, I can't hack computers and 7 multi-tools is a lot to use up, but finally have a big brain moment from a note I picked up earlier. I
am invincible!
I play inventory management for a while so I can even pick up the sword, and at Tracer Tong's request, take it back to Max Chen to restore peace between the triads. I escape an ambush at the nightclub by letting the triads do all the work and go to finally meet the elusive Tracer Tong. Tracer disables my kill switch by zapping me in the face in the middle of this huge machine. Cured of my doom status, Tracer asks me to infiltrate VersaLife to retrieve the ROM encoding, allowing both triads to manufacture their own lightsabers, which I agree to. In the belly of VersaLife now, I find Mr. Hundley who, after a bribe, gives me access to the secret not secret MJ-12 lab underground, where I most certainly won't make a nuisance of myself. Ignoring the concerning imagery of the hand around the globe, I use 2 multi-tools to gain access to the lab floor, where I happen upon a chance meeting between series baddie Bob Page and the slippery Maggie Chow, both of who clearly haven't got augmented peripheral vision. Spending some time looking for goodies as is my wont, I was going to capture a clip shaking my head at this room full of ore canisters, but then I started to take radiation damage and scarpered out of there instead. I make first contact with a room full of aliens, yes, you've heard me right, but leave before they can probe me, and decide to lighten the mood by freeing an imprisoned bomb.
Run, bitch! Run!
Inventory filled with all applicable loot, I head to the computer to pilfer the lightsaber ROM, which has the curious and completely unexpected effect of turning everyone hostile towards me. Donning some thermal camouflage I had saved just for an enemy gauntlet such as this, I run as fast as my unaugmented legs will take me back to the lift to the VersaLife offices. The security there is also hostile to me, but identifying myself as a Jedi is enough to get them to leave me be. I meet with the Triad leaders, who can now all Star Wars cosplay, return to Tong after looting his complex, haha, and now have to go back to the lab's lower levels to blow up their universal constructor used to manufacture the Grey Death Plague. Going through the back door means a lot of tunnels and dark spaces, but before I know it, I'm in and turning robots into allies. I tried to get a triple kill, but my slow reload speed, owing to virtually no talent in heavy weapons, gives me a bad case of the deads. Second time round, I successfully go the sneak route, zap my past life's murderer before finishing him off Jedi style. My mercy in not zapping this researcher earlier is almost my undoing, as she activates the alarm, turning on the robots, whom I dispatch with a bang. I nick off with the virus schematics, open the UC chamber, and descend. I find more orc canisters, which are as useful to me as a snorkel is to a fish, and head into one of the trickiest boss fights of the game, Maggie Chow.
And you die, JC.
I blow up the universal conductor, die in this comical way, reload and escape through a convenient pipe. Paul has since arrived in Hong Kong and had his kill switch turned off too, meaning for me this portion of the game is complete. Time to head back to Hell's Kitchen. Our mission is to find Stanton Dowd of Illuminati fame, but no new level of Deus Ex would be complete without some looting and casual murder. Whilst I jest, please know this one simple fact: my lack of any combat skills and defensive augmentations means that most firefights can be over very quickly from this point in the game. The enemies are getting tankier, whilst I'm still as tough as partially cooked spaghetti. I meet Dowd in this burned out building, who has the worst "I'm pretending to be sick to get a day off work" cough I've ever heard. He gives me the simple task of scuttling a super freighter carrying more of the Grey Death virus and, more importantly, picking him up some custard if I see any. Jock drops me at the dock and I begin stealthing my way to the ship. I am sure to loot everything like the rabid kleptomaniac I am, saying no to another augmentation, and fail to jump out of a window. I decide a door with a 10 lockpick requirement is far too steep a price to pay, so go underground as a shortcut instead. No. High road. After spending way too long on this section than necessary, I finally succeed in sneaking my way to the crane elevator, which means I can access the dock warehouse via the roof. At least there won't be anything in the vents that can kill. Oh my god! Finally at the super freighter now, and I can begin the task of blowing up the 5 key weak spots. I climb up onto the deck, zap some Chinamen, and make my way inside. I spend some time looting, find some custard for Dowd, and grab the key for the lower decks of the ship, where I can proceed with my explosive mission. The sections of the ship I need to chuck a lamb at are marked by these very obvious "don't blow me up" squares. Of course, setting off an explosion inside a ship has the added effect of alerting all the nearby guards, who confuse me for some kind of mech, but I'm really just a below average man in sunglasses. I take care of weak points 2, 3 and 4, fail to see how this electrified bridge won't kill me, instantly die, and make my way to the last weak spot. Along the way, I have some fun in this big fan chamber before completely failing to stealth my way to the final objective. I try to blow up these 2 lockers for the precious loot inside, realise they're made out of that special indestructible metal, and take out my frustration on the ship instead. I escape the ship as it begins to fall apart and dramatically dive off the edge as it implodes behind me. No, that was anticlimactic. I go back to where Jock dropped me off, throw a wobbly because he's not there, and meet him on the roof instead. He takes me to meet Dowd in the Dowd private crypt, it's creepy, and after looting his family's sarcophagi, I give him the custard, make plans to find Morgan Everett in Paris, and deny myself an augmentation upgrade. Taking the scenic route out of the crypt, I'm ambushed by Majestic 12, pistol them all to death, destroy the transmitter, and continue to rack up my air miles by flying to France. Now we are in Paris. I make my way down into this building, get the world's easiest security code from a bedraggled French woman, and make my way through this— oh my god, my lungs, my eye, Second time round, I make sure I am at full health, and luckily I make it through. I make my way into the sewers before receiving this disturbing message. What the fuck? These greasels give me some issue, apparently I'm just super allergic to radiation, but eventually I make it to the streets of Paris. Majestic 12 are in control of the streets, so I head to the nearby metro, loot it and clear it of hostile forces. Vive la France! I buy some rockets from this dude, snag this key, and head down into Les Catacombs de Paris. I find my way past a few enemies, spend too much time on this brick puzzle, but eventually find Silhouette's hideout. The Silhouette leader states he will put me in touch with Nicolette Duclair, whose mother can help me find Morgan Everett if I help free some hostages nearby. En route to the rescue mission, however, I ruin everything by getting blown up in my ever-present pursuit for loot. Shortly after reloading, I kill an enemy with ill timing and end up being blown apart again for the love of... Utilising more frequent quick saves, I breach the defences of the base, explore up a ladder, curse my pathetic human legs for their lack of jump height, and die. Dying a few more times, I finally find the winning formula, a mixture of rockets and a lightsaber. I free the hostages, return to Chad, who gives me the precious intel, and can finally escape these damned catacombs. Oh, and here's me showing you so far I have invested no skill points into anything, as if my performance wasn't already evidence enough of that. I managed to sneak out of the sewers undetected, meet up with Jaime in a cafe, and even give JC the option to sit down for this crucial catch-up. He gives me Gunther's kill phrase, which makes asking him to stay at UNATCO all the more worthwhile, and we'll see later on if I use it or not. In a scene reminiscent of that cantina bit from Star Wars A New Hope, I end up taking out two bandits with my lightsaber.
You'll be dead!
I get jump scared by the scary voice whilst I'm breaking and entering at a hostel, and bear witness to this bizarre ritual as I leave.
I never heard of anything called silhouette.
This one completely optional combat encounter costs me several lives and even more minutes just so I can have the pleasure of knowing I had looted all of France before I progress with the game. I finally make it to the nightclub, dance with the nurse for a bit, swap the coveted water fountain for the water cooler, and steal a man's dinner. I head upstairs, dance some more, speak to a woman who most definitely is not Nicolette Duclair, and give the club owner some honest feedback.
Everything is satisfactory, I trust.
Oh look, she was Nicolette after all. We go for a flight to Chateau Duclair to try and unearth the secrets of the mother hidden on her equally secret computer. Exploring the chateau, I loot everything possible, blast my way into the wine cellar, and turn this very obvious candelabra to reveal a secret passage. I gain access to Beth Duclair's secret office in the most awkward way possible, say no to more augmentation canisters, and after backtracking to the master bedroom for the password, remember, no hacky, set up a meeting with Morgan Everett. I get the key for the crypt and manage to sneak, with a degree of success, into the sewers again. Rather than waste any precious lockpicks, I stack boxes to hop this fence. Oh, for God's sake, JC! I blow open this fence before setting a trap for this baddie, only the boxes appear to be giving you some trouble. I push on forward, pop into the metro for a drink, set fire to a man on a bridge, which becomes a favourite tactic of mine moving forward, and lay eyes upon the cathedral. Tongue suggests I climb up a trellis, but why would I when someone has kindly left the door open for me? Oh, that's why. After finally getting past that hurdle, I get called a mouse by Gunther, set some men on fire, including this one who rather dramatically dives out the window. I loot this warehouse full of gold and ambrosia and finally encounter the hardest boss in the game, Gunther.
I know your UNATCO kill phrase. The Putin machine.
I am not a machine.
Sticks and stones.
With that out the way, I access the computer, establish the system link, and have a chat with Walton Simons, who threatens me with a good time. Everett agrees to meet with me in person, so heading back to the nearby metro, I meet with his butler, who takes me to his home. I say hi to Alex, who clearly has been racking up just as many air miles as I have, and meet the man himself. Everett tells me I need to go to Vandenberg to find the remaining trustworthy scientists and a universal constructor so we can create a vaccine to the Grey Death. I explore a bit more before meeting Jock at the helipad, including using 9 multi-tools to see this thing, go swimming in Everett's aquarium, and have a conversation with the supreme leader of the Illuminati, who now lives in a lunchbox. Heading to the roof, I speak with the odd mechanic, realise something's up, and get JC to say one of his most iconic lines.
A bomb.
Classic. Arriving at Vandenberg, a scientist who looks suspiciously like the one who set off the alarm back at VersaLife meets me on the roof, gives me the lowdown and a map to get inside, which, by the way, is crawling with Majestic 12 troops. A few failed attempts to get my bearings, but I'm finally in and on fire, baby. Well, those guys are. I flip a switch, kill all the robots, use the loo and wash my hands. I deny myself an AUG upgrade I stumble upon during a loot sesh and decide to climb into a tunnel. After dispatching some spider robots, I accidentally set off a laser trap whilst trying my trusty pepper spray trick, so have no choice but to blow them up. I managed to bypass the irradiated bit thanks to a key I grabbed from the maintenance guy in the flooded section earlier. I loot the goodies in this room after playing Stackerbox, grab the key to get into the control room, and enter the control room. Carter's chilling with Savage, who gives me the password to the computer nearby, but oh dear, the room is full of electricity.
No.
After a bit of trial and error, I summon the lift, have my legs fried off, but manage to uplink to Milnet. Bob Page chimes in with something about kidnapping Savage's daughter and wanting Savage to bring some components he stole from Area 51 to an abandoned gas station, all with the caveat that JC does not interfere.
Bring me the reaction modules.
Oh, this is an awkward angle. In spite of Paige's warning, JC agrees to have a shot at saving her, but before I leave, I spot a hard-to-reach augmentation canister, which I deny myself. I begin my stealthy approach to the gas station by setting this man ablaze, triggering the alarm, and getting blown up by a woman in black. 7th attempt, I finally succeed in getting as far as to make a rooftop infiltration, which doesn't end in my or Tiffany's death. I accidentally slam the door in her face, take out the remaining guards, and tell her to make haste, Jock. Once I finished replenishing my stocks with whatever I can find, Jock drops me off at the ocean lab for a bit of underwater fun. I try to bypass all the baddies and robots by swimming straight down, but realise there are water enemies with better vision than Bob Page at least, ready for me. I break into the base and head up, not down, and manage to take out the troops in the least stealthiest way possible. I make it to the lift without too much more hassle, inadvertently cause this workplace accident, watch a scientist walk with a knife in his foot, and open up the sub bay. I grab a sub, and this is where Deus Ex gets a little survival horror.
I love it.
I mooch about taking out haywire gun turrets and greasels. Oh, the greasels! They are everywhere in this level, and their radiation breath can kill me faster than most enemies. I grab the code I need to proceed after killing the greasels with darts, manage to get past the force lightning without getting zapped, and enter the spooky excavation area. I am ambushed by these things, which really did make me jump whilst playing, and they make short work of me. Reloading, I try another route and get ambushed again, only by a bigger boy this time. I get my own back with a rocket though, so that's good. After finally clearing this section, I press deeper into the facility. Finally reaching the epicenter, I get ignored by some baby robot spiders, and that's because it's time to face the toughest boss in the game, the daddy robot spider. I loot a bit more, realise I don't have the credentials to extend a bridge I could otherwise jump over with leg augmentations, and have to go searching for the login instead. I find it on a data cube at the bottom of this electrified pool,
Shocking.
and finish what I came here to do, grab the schematics for the UC. Bob Page gives me some waffle about mathematics, as well as hinting he's going to bomb Vandenberg. Before I can get back there, however, I have to proceed back through the base, and that means facing the toughest boss in the game, Walton Simons.
Rebel.
Oh, it really is tough. If only there was a video online that could... That's more like it. I make it back to the surface without incident and meet Savage and Jock on the roof. Savage rewards me with an AUG upgrade canister for saving Tiffany, but in this one, there's only one thing for it, I'm afraid. Our penultimate mission is to redirect a rocket to Area 51 instead of Vandenberg, which, if successful, should also give us a chance to breach the headquarters of Majestic 12 and stop Bob Page. I get my ass handed to me on my first attempt at even getting inside the guardhouse, let alone the silo, but perseverance is the key in this challenge. I find a secret loft with some goodies, breach the perimeter wall on my 4th attempt with the help of a robot, and blow my way inside a stairwell to the silo. I am reminded of how painfully unprepared I am for late game content time and time again, but eventually with a bit of skill, or maybe just explosives, manage to progress. I lock an MIB in the toilet, get killed more times than I care to admit by a robot spider, but finally clear the way to the control room. I abort the launch and reprogram the strike to Area 51. Now all I have to do is escape back to the surface, which, really surprisingly, I manage on my first go. Really? Alright, this is it. Area 51, the final level. Already the sniper in the tower is giving me a headache with his deadly accuracy. I manage to penetrate his nest, notice a booby trap, and yes, the wait for the targeting reticule still leaves something to be desired. I take him out, explore some more as my supplies are dwindling fast, and prepare to face the toughest boss in the... Okay, enough, it's Walton Simons again. He kills me, or maybe it's the robot that kills me, I don't know. So when I reload, I stack the odds in my favour. Anticlimactic? Yes. Fair?
All's fair in love and war, baby.
I finish looting the surface, have probably my last drink of the game, show off that you don't need skill to have skill with a rocket launcher, and make my way inside Area 51. As you might expect, it's very heavily guarded, so I throw everything I have left at the enemies that befall my path. I restore utility power so I can ride the lift down to the lower levels, and for some reason lose a few skill points for accidentally killing a recharge robot. It's not real! Down underground now, I've got multiple people spamming me telling me what to do, which ties nicely into the game's multiple ending system, where the choices we make here and now in Area 51 will determine the outcome of the story. Of course, Invisible War takes the choice you make and shoves it up your ass. My first attempt at passing the very first obstacle ends like this. Second time round I succeed, take a message from Everett to betray Tong and blow up a sentry bot. I find a medibot, say no to another AUG canister and bomb 2 enemies enjoying their 15-minute respite. I get a code which opens up a bunk holding a key and a med pack, as well as an AUG upgrade I deny myself, which by now should be for obvious reasons. Spooky floating corpse. I made my way through the next combat encounter, which ends like this. Second go of it, however, is just epic. I take out some baddies that came with the lift I summoned, get trash talked by Paige, and take a message from Tong to betray Everett. Sector 3 now, and after watching a mama and a baby beast finish their dinner, I somehow survived this close quarters encounter before distracting mama with dessert. I have a dip in this green pool, blow up a sniper, and chase a mechanic. The mechanic decides to be a hero, so I finish him off, say no to an AUG upgrade, and after killing the robot spiders, head towards the Sector 3 labs. This mechanic gives me the code to the next area, so I return the favour by killing the aliens chilling in the nearby green mist. I'm given a third ending choice from Helios to betray everyone and become a supreme benevolent ruler, and I'm given a few pet robots as a sweetener to the deal. I call them Bob and Phil, and as you can see, they're very helpful. Bob, no!
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time.
I finally make my way to Sector 4 to confront Paige, have a quick catch up with Paul, who is the best big brother ever because he doesn't tell me who to betray. I am nearly taken out by a flying door, spot the protagonist of the next game, and even get to see my name on a data cube. I accidentally pick up an AUG upgrade which I treat as a hot potato in spite of being the worst throw ever. I bypass Paige's attempt to blockade me via the alien room, mercilessly slaughter the Greys, and finally get a look at the big man himself in his sparkly bubble. JC roasts Paige, who retaliates by way of ambush with these gun turrets, not knowing I mastered the art of taking them out back in Hell's Kitchen. I face the real final boss of the game, this one very particular robot spider, and make my mind upon how I want JC's story to end. I happily spend 9 multi-tools to gain access to this room, disable the locks, ignore Paige, and engage the primary router. I make my way back to Helios, content with my decision and realising what an utter adventure this challenge has been. It is nothing short of a testament to how great Deus Ex is that I played it this way, and by God did I love every second of it. On my final approach, I stopped to show you all one final time that no skill points were spent and not one augmentation was installed. Meaning yes, you can beat Deus Ex without augmentations and upgrading skills. Guys, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I have so many more late 90s, early noughties gaming challenges planned, so if you don't want to miss out, then please consider subscribing. If you fancy a chat, then by all means drop me a comment and smash that like button if watching this video made you reinstall Deus Ex. Anyway, all that's left to say is, take care guys, and I will see you in the next one.